How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the Now Show.
We're back.
I'm Alan.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're here on the second episode of talking to you guys about what's going on outside right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought such a nice day. We're gonna bring it to you from the porch.
The outdoors, yep. And we just went fishing.
We did.
And we just totally cleaned up on bluegill. Real easy. Bluegill
We did.
biting.
The gill getter got us some gills.
Yep, sponsored by Steve. Yep, but we noticed some things. We hopped out of the boat, took a few little adventures, found some knobs that are definitely warmer than other places, and you can see that in the vegetation. You can see the mayaples starting to come up. We saw some trout lilies. We saw a lot of the early springtime vegetation popping up in those warmer pockets. And then you dip right over the hill, and it looks like winter time. And that's kind of where we're at with mushrooms right now.
But you can't just lay one up for me like that and say knob right when we start the video. That's just...
What do you mean?
You said knob right away.
Oh,
You're just asking for it.
Right.
And I'm not even going to go there today.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
So keep it
just
clean.
saying.
But yeah, so when we were in the woods, I'm looking, you guys can't see it, but we're looking at woods right now, and it's pretty dark. It's all brown.
It's brown.
There's not
still.
a lot of vegetation.
Honeysuckles are greening up, little mouse ears on honeysuckles. Mm-hmm. Like you were saying, the trout lilies are going.
Yep.
You got the little nubs of mayaples going.
So you said nub.
Nubs, not knobs.
How is knob bad, but nub isn't? Okay.
It just sounds worse saying knob.
Okay.
It
All right.
does. It just sounds worse.
Okay. So yeah. So on our little adventure, one of our little adventures, we went up to this hump, and and it's just this early spot, and there's always some nice little black morels there, and we didn't spend a lot of time there, but we both kind of felt like if we would have spent enough time there, we probably could have found one.
Yeah, you almost wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
Like you were messing it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there. It's right there.
And that's kind of where I feel like we're at right now as a season. It's like, I want to get out there so bad. But I also know I could probably go out right now. I could walk all day and maybe pick a few. But am I doing that just for the honor of it so that I can say I got the first one, so that I can be like, I found one? I mean, I'm not into it.
So the deal is, we talked about it last week. We had a few 70-degree days, just a few. They weren't consistent. Everything looked still pretty not springy, but it was starting to look springy. Mm-hmm. Well, now we've had 5 70-plus degree days in a row. Today it's 80. Mm-hmm. We've got a bunch of rain coming in tonight.
Yeah.
You're going to see, we had Vigo County down by Terre Haute.
Uh-huh.
There's blacks coming up there. So they're getting close.
Yeah.
This week you will see, I think, widespread from here to Kokomo
Fines,
explosions all the way.
Hopefully the weather holds. I don't want more 80-degree. I don't even want more 70-degree days. I'd like 60s, rain, slow, just like we talked about in the first episode. Just that
ground temps ramping up, man. And that's like fast. And you want it to go up, but not like it is right now.
Yeah, because if it does, it'll be over and done with in just a couple short weeks. And then you get into a situation where do you want to travel? Is 2 weeks enough for you? Again, if you're a backdoor picker and you just want to slip out and pick a mess, great. But if you need pounds, which I
not yet.
I crave pounds, then I'll have to travel for them if that's the situation that we're in. If it's a 2-week season, hopefully it's not. So, yeah.
Hopefully not. But yeah, a lot of your spring indicators just really in the last 2 to 3 days have started really coming on. So
yeah,
as mushroom hunters, you start getting pretty excited about that just because it's about to happen, but you really don't want it to overdo itself too quick.
Yeah, the forsythia in my front yard is blooming. And that's one of my indicators. I know for some people it's a lilac. My lilac hasn't bloomed yet.
I've got leaves on my lilac tree, but no blooms yet.
Yeah, mine right outside the front door of the house. To the right, there's a lilac bush, and it's covered in buds, so it's just ready to pop. So
all my crocuses are blooming pretty good. They look pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming on this week, but you know what? It's not like we've screamed disaster yet and had 5 85-degree days in a row. I mean, it
Right.
has been a little warmer than you want, but I'm still right on board with what we said last week. I mean, it's going to be first week of April, and it's going to be starting to go really good to where we can get out and pick bags of mushrooms.
What is today?
Today's March 21st.
Okay.
22nd? March 22nd?
I said the 25th, and I still think.
Yeah, for your first one.
For my first
First
one,
eatable.
yeah,
First
yeah.
eatable one.
First eatable. Edible. Yeah, and that's going to be right over there. About 200 yards from where we're making this video today is my early spot. And like I said the last time, if I find one there, I'll back out of it and I'll start getting ready, but I really won't hunt for another week.
Yep.
Because that's how it's always worked for me. I find one there, and then I get excited. This is how I used to do. I'd get excited and start hunting, and just pretty much get skunked.
Pick a
Onesie
bunch of thumbs
twosies.
all over
Yep.
the place.
So once one pops up in my early spot, I usually give it a week, and then I'm pretty good to go at that point. So
There you go.
yeah,
There you go. So yeah, guys, you're about to spend a lot of time in the woods. One thing we thought we'd talk about today is what are you taking with you, and what do you have to take with you, or what at least we think you got to take with you.
I think, and some people do, some people don't, but I just can't go into the woods, whether it's digging ginseng, whether I'm hunting, foraging, whatever. I can't go into the woods without a backpack. There's just so many things that I need, and there's a lot of things hopefully I never need, but I have them with me. And that could be like a lighter. You can either take a water filter or take a bottle of water. You need to have water. You've got to stay hydrated. I always have a knife. I always have a trash bag in my backpack. And that, it may sound a little extreme, but who knows? You could use it as a raincoat. You could pick up trash. It could be a shelter if you had to. But I've usually got some snacks, and of course, I always have toilet paper. So
Yeah. For starting fires, right?
For starting fires. That's
Yeah.
why I bring the toilet paper. Yeah.
Yep.
Because nobody wants to come back with, a sock missing. So.
Or a sleeve.
Yeah.
I had a lot of one-sleeved
Is
shirts.
that what all those are?
A lot of one-sleeved shirts.
Yeah. My
It
kids
can
always
happen.
ask, why do all Alan's shirts just have one sleeve?
Yeah, it happens. It happens
guess.
sometimes, but.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah.
But you know
backpack.
what? What you take in the woods is different than what I would take in the
I
woods.
know, but I kind of feel like I'm right.
You are. You are.
Yeah. So what do you take in the woods?
So typically my hunts aren't as lengthy because I'm hunting city spots most of the time. So usually what I will do is make sure I definitely have a knife with me.
For sure.
Doesn't necessarily have to be a backpack, but it has to be at least a front-facing sack with a strap
Like
around your waist.
a man purse? Do you use a man purse?
It's like a
You're not gonna say European man bag, are you? Because it's a man purse.
no, it's a fanny pack, but it's not a fanny pack. It's more rugged than that. It's more rugged.
Why? Because it's camo?
No, because it's beefier. It's bigger.
So I use a backpack, and
I gotta at
people
least have
can
that.
use the
Gotta
man
have
purse for a beefy European man bag. The point is, you need some sort of vessel
You're a beefy European man.
to carry your stuff in, and I think there are a few things that are non-negotiable. If you go in the woods without them, that's fine, but you definitely need a knife. You definitely need water.
Toilet
you
paper.
definitely need toilet paper, and maybe even bug spray or some lotion like for sunscreen or something like that. It just depends. I usually hose down with
Permethrin.
permethrin, yeah, or what I've been doing is not everybody has access, but I have a lot of thyme here growing at the house, and you can run your hands over the plant. You can just feel your skin just getting oily. Insects hate thyme. It's actually used in organic pest control. Thyme oil is. So it works as it just smothers insects, and they hate it. So, but yeah, permethrin on my shoes, permethrin on my clothes, my hat. I usually have a bandana around my neck, and I hose it down with permethrin. But I try and keep it off my skin, So
Yeah, one thing I always keep with me, especially late in spring, not so much, but summer when it's hot. It's a clip-on
Man
or a
purse.
necklace. It's a necklace, but it's a fan that
Seriously?
blows up at you, and it's a little bitty fan that hangs around your neck, and you can charge your phone off it if you need to. It's great. So, chanterelle hunting, guys, it's usually like 95 and humid as all can be outside. And you got a nice constant breeze on your face. Ooh, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice for the boat
I've
too.
yet to see that. It's one of those things that I want to make fun of, but at the same time, if we were out in the woods and it was 95 degrees, I'd probably be like, "Well, can I try it?" So,
No, you'd try it.
yeah.
You would try it.
So yeah, everybody's got their different, needs, but
I do bring toilet paper though, and I know you use it for that. I use it for a ton of other stuff. Most of the time, it's great for, and I don't know, like picking up nice rocks that you find on the ground where you need to pack them inside something. I don't want to say the word because you're not supposed to really talk about that stuff.
okay.
Like as far as there's the antiquities laws because I'm talking about artifacts.
Okay.
But all legally obtained, it just opens up doors talking about it. But yes, if you find a nice one
Right.
on private
Yeah, you
property
like
where
to
you're
wrap
allowed
it
to
and
take
take
it, you
care
have
of
to.
it.
Yeah, so it's good to pad stuff. It's good to. If you don't have a dry bag, if you have a Ziploc, putting it around your cell phone to absorb the water first before it gets to your phone.
Yeah, a bandage.
Bandage.
We've
Yeah, I mean you
all
can use
wrapped our
it
finger in toilet paper when you get a cut or something like that. So
for sure. When do you not take a backpack?
I honestly, if I don't take a backpack, it's because I forgot it. Even when I do my backdoor little jaunt through the woods, which is, I could get to that early spot, the one we were talking about earlier. I could get to that early spot 7 minutes.
Still got a backpack.
Still have a backpack.
Extra
Yeah.
bags are good for a backpack as well.
Yeah.
Your extra bags.
Yep, the little plastic bags that everybody makes fun of, for people picking morels. Oh, you shouldn't use a plastic bag. You should use a spore spreader. Okay, great. And I try and use a spore spreader. Are there spores on some of those mushrooms still? Sure, there's a few, but most of the mushrooms, when they come up, they cast their spores out.
They're already out.
They're
Yeah.
already out of there. Yeah,
Guys,
so-
remember, and we won't get into the big mesh bag thing because you all have heard too much about it already anyway. But if you haven't, mesh bags are great for letting the dirt escape from your mushrooms.
keeps them from getting soggy.
Yeah, they got airflow through them.
But if you're not careful, they can also act like a cheese grater.
They can't. A little too much weight in there,
Yep.
you're in trouble. But
So
but yeah, guys, it's not one of those where you have to use a mesh bag or else they don't grow next
Right.
year. It's not like that. It's
Right.
not like that. So
yeah, the plastic bag, normally what happens with me is I find plastic bag in the woods. Now I've normally got a couple of them in my backpack, but it seems like I usually come back with more than I left with. Because I always try and, if I see a can, I'll smash it, throw it in a plastic bag. If I see, an empty pack of cigarettes, if I see a plastic water bottle, which I see more and more of those every year. I guess the point is I try and leave the forest a little bit better when I come out of it. So if I see trash, I pick it up. So yeah.
what's the weirdest thing you ever found?
In the woods?
Yeah.
I don't know if we can even talk about that.
I bet your mine's weirder.
Yeah, I've found a lot of clothes and stuff that's pretty weird. Some shoes and just some things that were in some certain areas, and that's a situation where you're calling the sheriff's department. You're like, hey, it just doesn't look right, and let them handle it. Kind of one of those situations where you just kind of walk away slowly, and you're like, oh, something. But I've found all kinds of weird stuff in the forest.
I found a cow's tongue nailed to a tree one time.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm not even lying.
Yeah, I was with a buddy. This probably would have been the late 90s, and we were over by Fillmore, Indiana, along a creek, and there was a big fire ring not a ring, a place where they had a fire, and hanging from a tree, not to one up your cow tongue, but hanging from a tree was the head of a horse, a dog, a cat, and a chicken. The chicken wasn't just the head, it was the whole head, and it was all wound up in rope, hanging from a rope.
That sounds like
we were terrified. We were young kids at the time. We were smallmouthing the creek and just kind of hopping. We'd get to a hole that we couldn't cross or whatever, so we'd get up off the bank and kind of walk on, somebody's property, get back down to the creek. And we were doing that, and we ran into that, and that was the end of our day. We split. We felt like we were, it was like some cult thing or something.
Well, in reality, when it was really just some barnyard game of poker gone bad that was sponsored by the mob.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but that,
or they. I'm thinking it could have been a pool game.
A pool game.
Yeah, they hustled. It was a barnyard game of pool. They hustled. They hustled the mob, and the mob made an example of them.
They gambled like their life. You think?
Well, the mob made an example of them.
Yeah.
Hung them out in the woods like that.
Well,
barnyard game of poker.
Other weird things. There was one day, and this wasn't that long ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, that I was hunting some railroad tracks, and I'd gotten all the way to the end and was coming back, and it was dark. I mean, it was dark. Which the railroad tracks are easy at night. There's a lot of light, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But as I came around this turn, one of the rails, the steel rails, for probably a quarter mile was glowing the color of a cigarette. I mean, it was
like hot,
just burning red.
Did you see if there was heat coming off of it?
It was, yes.
There was heat coming.
Touched the stick to it. It burnt the end of the stick, and it was just, yeah. And my first thought was, is this lightning? Now talking to some people who
hot water pipe or something.
People, they think there's probably a wheel. One of the wheels on one of the cars was stuck. So as it went by, it was just metal
Burned
to metal
it up.
and just smoked that thing. But that was really crazy. It was one of those moments where you're kind of rubbing your eyes and you're like, am I really looking at what I think I'm looking at? But I was very freaked out, for 5 or 6 minutes trying to figure out, because it was up ahead of me going around a corner. I was like, what is that? Why am I seeing this?
That's wild. I found how do I say it? Being crass, a large, like human-sized balloon of a lady that wasn't wearing any clothes.
Oh, like an inflatable friend.
Yeah.
Interesting. Where was that?
In the woods.
Like
real close to my house, public park.
Wow.
Way deep in there, and I saw it from afar. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Well, I'm one of those guys now." I mean, I'm one of the stories that happens every year. Every year, a mushroom hunter finds a dead body somewhere.
Oh, I know.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Well, here, it's going to be me this year." I just found one, and I got up to it, and I still thought until it got real close, and then.
Yeah. Now I've ran into some interesting people. There was an older gentleman that used to live in the woods pretty close to where we're at right now. And he had a winter home, and that winter home was kind of a lean-to at the local university off one of their maintenance buildings or something. And I think they knew he was there, but they just allowed him to just kind of winter down there. But in the summertime, he would always build just like this little shelter. And you'd know when you found it because there were pots and pans and clothing hanging in the tree and stuff like that. And this is an older gentleman who he'd pick mushrooms, he'd harvest ramps. He always had blackberries, things like that. And this guy was doing it. He didn't have to do it. He did it because he just truly wanted to be in the woods. He had a job. And I mean, that guy, you think about the Jeremiah Johnsons of the world, they're everywhere. It may not be fighting bears and trapping beaver, but I mean, there's some people that just have to be in the woods because, that's their happy place. And this guy was one of them. I don't want to name him, but as a kid, we'd always run into him in the woods, and he was always so nice, and he showed us so many neat things.
Is this the guy that can turn a squirrel inside out?
No,
different guy.
No, that's Scuba Steve.
Oh yeah.
No, this is an older guy. He's probably passed on since now because he was pretty old when I was a kid. But he's a neat guy, really neat guy. So, but you also, you never know who you're going to run into in the woods. Sometimes you don't want to approach people in the woods. You want to keep your distance because you don't know, you know.
When I grew up, we had an older gentleman that lived at the edge of the woods, and he had to be 100 years old,
Yeah.
90, 95. And as kids, we would just ride our bike up to his house and go in his backyard and knock on his patio door, and he'd come give us candy every
Yeah.
time we did it. Now that I look back on it, it probably wasn't the smartest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's who I used to see in the woods
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best experience.
There are lots, and we could do a whole episode on the strangest things you found in the woods. And I'd really want to spend some time thinking about that because, I think that
I could write a whole
Right.
notebook page of weird stuff I found in the woods.
I have found, like when I was a kid, I was in a certain place and I still need to go back and check it, but we found a big silver goblet that was maybe 12 inches tall. It was about that big around, and it had the the base and the foot on it, and we started poking around there because it was the side bank of a creek had kind of caved in, and when it caved in, we found a platter, and it was silver, and we found that goblet, and it was silver, and we found a crucifix. And that crucifix was about that tall. It had Jesus on it, and when you lifted the bottom and looked at the base, it was stamped with the date of 1688.
Whew.
Yeah. So
Early settlers.
well, so that's another thing too. Is a lot of these creeks and stuff that we just fish and just it's just our creek or whatever. The early settlements, that's where they were at.
Mhm.
They were along the water source, the food source. Of course they would trap it. A lot of the French, used these streams in the Midwest to haul provisions from fort to fort. You've got Lafayette. It used to be a fort. You down Spencer, Indiana, there's lost treasure. You can Google it. It's major treasure. In some of these places, and their payroll or gold or silver that was going from the south to say Fort Lafayette. So they'd either use the Ohio, they'd use the Wabash, they'd use the white. In some cases, big walnut, little walnut. It just depends. But you just never know what you're going to find out there. So.
Well, yeah, and especially through this area of the state. I don't know if everyone's familiar with the different topography and different climates throughout Indiana, but the whole west side of the state, if you drew a line kind of Tell City all the way through west to Indianapolis and all the way up to the state line of Michigan and west into Illinois, it was all a giant wetland, huge wetland all the way through.
Yeah.
And now where those drainages were in the wetlands, especially where you had your your ice age push everything down, your moraines, your natural moraines throughout this whole area of southwest Indiana and just a little ways north through Crawfordsville. It's a real cool part of the state.
Yeah, it's flat about 30 minutes north of here.
Yep.
It's kind of where the glaciers stopped.
Yep.
So we got all that push up, and then everything south of us, all the way down through.
So
Brown
you
County,
live
Bloomington.
on glacial till.
I do, actually, yeah. So if you go down the road just a couple miles, you start seeing cliffs everywhere, and we're on a very high ridge right now, and Big Walnut is over here, maybe a quarter mile. Little Walnut is over here, about a half mile, and both of those valleys were cut by glacier. So pretty neat. And when you drive into them, you can just see it. This is something that they put all the kids on a school bus every year in grade school and take us out to the local nature parks, and teach us about how, this was all underwater, it was all an ocean,
You know who the first one to build on Glacial Till was?
You?
Glacial Bill.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Look it up.
Huh.
Glacial Bill.
Glacial Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So, we talked about the backpack. We talked about where we think that we're at.
Yep.
The soil's warming up. Soil's warming up fast.
So this is one of those weeks, guys, where we could come at you next week and be like, wow, that escalated quickly.
Yeah,
Because
and hopefully we don't.
I don't want that to happen, but it could happen. We get the right kind of rain, and then the right kind of warm temperatures. Like I'll bet you next week I'm reporting the morels in my yard.
Yeah.
They're not there yet, but I'll bet you next week they are.
Mm-hmm.
Bet you they are.
Yeah.
I found them there last year, April 2nd.
Yeah.
April 6th. I'm sorry, April 6th.
And that's not bad. Blacks, right?
No,
Black
grays.
Grays. That's scary.
No, it's in my yard though, and it gets full sun
Yeah.
all the time. So
It's it's about hunting those ups and downs. Just like we were talking earlier. There's those humps, and the soil's there. It is. It's that temperature's there. But then you could go 20 feet in the opposite direction, and
Yep.
the soil's cold. And you can see that again, like we talked about earlier. You can see that in the vegetation that's popping up.
Well, it's funny, guys. If you listen to the old verbiage, they say when you start finding morels, they move about 100 miles north every week. Well,
Right.
where were we talking last week? Kentucky, right?
Kentucky, yeah.
Now we're talking Terre Haute, where
Yeah.
there's been some finds.
Mm-hmm.
You figure,
Yeah.
there you go. There's your 100 miles right there, plus a little bit more.
Yeah, in 1 week's time.
And so I mean, it's holding kind of true.
Yeah, but that's also that's based on the normal progression of spring temperatures.
Yeah.
So if it all warms up, I mean, there's been years where, they they were done here, so I hopped in the car and I went to Michigan, and they were done in Michigan. So you just never know. You've really got to keep an eye on the weather, and you've got to go where it's at.
Well, and remember too, we're talking this. Yes, they've been spotted, and yes, the season is starting. You're not picking hauls yet.
No.
Don't get us confused here. You're not picking
Right.
hauls.
Yeah.
But this week is going to be a crossroads in the season, man. We're going to know if it's going to boom and fizzle out, or if it's going to slowly come on
Yeah.
by the time we come at you next week.
We're supposed to get some rain tonight, right?
Yep.
So
Storms, and
that'll-
then cool off. High of 48 tomorrow.
That's what we want.
Yep.
That is what we
Cooler
want.
right back down.
Mm-hmm.
But give the mycelium a little time to beef up.
Yeah.
Sclerotia to go a little bit, you know.
Do its thing, and
So it's given it 5, 6, 70 to almost 80-degree days in a row. So the ground temp's there, guys. Now we're just waiting on those pins to get to full size.
mm-hmm.
Those little threads to come up and do their thing. So
yeah, and like today, it's a super windy day. It'd be a horrible day to be up in.
mm-hmm.
'Cause
Dried
there's
up.
no moisture in the air.
Better be
Yeah.
under some leaves.
Yep. So hopefully that rain, gives us what we're looking for, and then all the pins that are up, all the mycelium that's wiggling its way through the soil does its thing, and hopefully this progresses like a normal spring, low and slow, steady, and we get to experience.
It's our
all the
first
difference.
El Nino mushroom season in a long time.
Yeah.
About what? When was the last good El Nino year? I have to look it up.
I don't know. It's been a while.
You know what I want to talk about next week?
What's up?
No,
More inflatable dolls.
not that. Not that.
Okay.
I want to talk about a possible correlation between certain geographical features that compare and may, or that not compare, but that could help morels come up faster in certain
Well-
areas. And when I say that, I have a theory that where you see early finds every year, and it's going to be hard to do it without really showing where they're at, but they all have something in common. It all has something to do way beneath the Earth's crust.
Where?
You'll have to find out.
Oh,
You're
well,
going to have to find out, but I'm telling you, you're going to freak.
Yeah,
We're gonna freak.
I look forward to hearing about that. I'm a firm believer that morels don't want to grow. They want to stay underground. They want to be, whether it's sclerotia or mycelium or whatever. It almost always takes a shocking trigger to
Mhm.
make that organism want to fruit. because it's a desperation to, to procreate, to send its spores and go off and do its thing. So I always look for that.
Well, what I'm talking about, this geographical stuff here, is a trigger.
Oh.
So
you're just going to make me wait a week.
Oh, you're going to wait. You're going to wait.
I'll wait 5 minutes. He'll tell me in 5 minutes. You guys will have to wait a week. There's no way we're gonna
you can wait on these. I'm telling you, because it's going to be next week. All right, guys, we're gonna take off. Thanks for joining us again.
Find your trees.
Find them right now. This is your last week to really get on it before it's go time. At least in the central Indiana area. Everybody's going to be finding a bunch. It's going to be awesome.
Right, but if you go right now and find those trees, it's so much easier because in a week or two, everything is going to be leafed out, and you're just going to be staring at a big green blur.
Now's the time.
So go find those leaners. Go find the ones that are popping, and go find your spots. But tread lightly and try and carry stuff out. Try and take out more than you take in, and definitely bring out what you brought.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. I'm Alan.
I'm Jeff. This is the Now.
This is the Now.
All right.
We will see you next week. Thank you.
Cheers.